Well, welcome back to another edition of the Inside Syracuse Basketball podcast. I'm Mike Waters of syracuse.com, and I guess there's no holding back the surprise any longer. You've seen the face already here, and most of you are probably going to recognize him right away. Welcome to our guest today, Brandon Triche, former Syracuse point guard. How are you doing, Brandon?
Good, Mike. Good, Mike. Just nice morning day, nice little breeze. Weather's not too cold in Syracuse, so you got to enjoy those days.
Yeah, the sun's out. It's playing, havoc with the lighting on my end where I'm at, and it's also the morning after a Syracuse victory. Syracuse won its season opener last night against Binghamton at the Dome, 85-47. But we'll get into that. But to let the folks out there know, Brandon is going to be joining us on a regular basis here on the Inside Syracuse Basketball podcast. So if it's not myself and my colleague Donna Ditota, it's going to be myself and Brandon and maybe a few other guests as we go along the way. But I'm really excited, Brandon, to be able to talk to you regularly about the Orange, especially as we head into what should be a very interesting season for Syracuse fans.
Yeah, I think so. Very athletic. You're going to see a lot more dunks this year. I think they're going to bring. I think the fans going to file right in. I didn't see that with so many fans for this first game, but I think by December you're going to see a lot more fans coming, 5 and 10 years ago.
Well, I agree with you, and I want to get into that a little bit more, but I think we have to talk about right off the top last night's game or Monday night's game against Binghamton. There was a lot of great things that came out of it. But we do have to talk about the J.J. Starling injury. Less than 3 minutes into the game, J.J. limps over to the sideline. Both then and also when he came back out with a wrap on his thigh, it looked for all the world like he had tweaked the hamstring. We don't know how bad, but what did you see and what did you think when you saw J.J. leave the court?
So initially on that pass, right, it just seemed like a bam play. Like I thought initially he got kneed in maybe the back of his hamstring. But that was the defender was on his left side, but it's his right side. So he must have, I don't know. He must have, I think when he kind of like stutter stepped a little bit, when you do that, you put pressure on your hamstring, and I think maybe it kind of got tight. The good thing about that is that he didn't like overextend himself. You know what I mean? So once he was able to, once he got hurt, he was able to get a sub. So, it looked like a 2-week thing.
As a fan, as an observer of sports, when I see a hamstring injury, a lot of times it's either like a football wide receiver or maybe a track athlete, a runner. And if they really tear it, they stop immediately. They'll grab for that hammy, and you'll see them hopping, and so it didn't seem to me like JJ did that last night. I don't think I know everyone's hoping it's not a tear. So maybe if he just tweaked it or pulled it a little, like you said, maybe he'll be back soon.
I think it's more of like, man, I'm annoyed. It's the first game, 3 minutes of the game. Like, all right, man, I worked super hard just to be in shape for this moment, and man, I'm probably gonna be out a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, whatever the case may be. So it's kind of like I think he was more annoyed than anything, which is it could be hard for a player.
Sure. Even a couple of the players I talked to in the locker room after were talking about, man, this is JJ's senior year. It's the opener. He had the injury last season that cost him a handful of games. He had another injury to a finger earlier this fall that cost him some practice time. And he's worked so hard to get back here. With him out of the game, what impact did you see? What if anything changed for the Orange when JJ went to the sidelines?
I think they started the game moving the ball really well. One thing I noticed, from the beginning is that they're very long, they're very athletic. They got a lot of athletes who play with high energy. I think Red said something about that in the preseason games, like they was missing some energy, but I didn't see that in the first game. I think they were locked in. Okay, you're playing against Binghamton, which can be sometimes one of those trap games where it's like a tough first half. But no, they were playing so much good defense that they had 16 turnovers at halftime, which is I don't care who you're playing against.
That's crazy.
You have 16 turnovers. You know what I mean. But the only thing is, you would hope that 16 turnovers meant the score was, let's say, 45-14 at half. They picked up on the second half, but I think one thing I've seen different is that, I mean, the season is new, so guys are trying to get in where they fit in. So you're seeing a lot of 3-pointers flying up. You know what I mean? I think that's
Yeah.
kind of like what slowed the game a little bit down for them. But once they got in transition, it was 10 points in a row, pretty much.
Yeah, I thought the intensity and the effort was much greater than either of the two exhibition games. And I have to think that after the way they played against Pace the week before, that it gave the coaches about 4 days to show them some real ugly film and to really get after them in practice.
Mm-hmm.
They came out really inspired. They played really, really hard. Again, with JJ going, we saw a lot more of Cayenne Anthony.
Mm-hmm.
The freshman, we all know the name. There's so much hype around him because of his father. Um, but the kid played pretty well, and I thought he played within himself too. It was a good game for Cayenne last night.
I agree. I think from what I'm seeing, is he's a very efficient scorer. If you notice, he's like a guy who's not the most, let's say, fast twitch guy, the most athletically
Mm-hmm.
gifted guy, and I think he's been like that, for most of his life. So he knows how to get to his spots. He know how to change speed. He know how to give that pump fake, right? That kind of like old school game where he's able to get to his spots, and you can't really quote unquote speed him up. So I think because he know himself, he's able to play really well, which is very important. You know what I mean? So the game is not too fast for him because he always played against the top competition, and he always had to figure it out. So this
I
right, yeah.
Yeah,
What you gonna
I
say?
don't know where he got that old school game from. I mean, that one step back jumper on the baseline, did that remind you of anybody?
I know it's like that step back. He had the step back, the bump off to the step back. Obviously, his dad did that a lot. He
Yeah.
got the nuances of the new game, which is just a step back, pump fake. He likes that as well. Try to get the defender in the air. He is a guy that will get fouled a lot. He just know how to play basketball. I think I feel like when he's playing, even though he has a lot of pressure, it seems like he's playing without, no real pressure because he's just playing within himself. You know what I mean? So a lot of guys when they first trying to get on the scene playing at Syracuse or any other place, they want to show who they are to the fans, even
Hmm.
to themselves. So sometimes they shoot shots that's not them. And in doing that, you cause yourself to get out of rhythm. I think Cayenne kind of played himself into rhythm and just let the game come to himself.
Yeah, I agree. He above almost any other freshman would have all the reason to want to like show himself
Mm,
to like because he knows he's coming in with some hype and he's got the father's last name and
mm,
there's we before the game last night, I actually saw a fan with a Cayenne Anthony jersey, not a Carmelo jersey, but a Cayenne one. And I can't, like, when is the last time a freshman at his first game has people in the stands with his jersey? But he did play within himself, and I didn't really get this while watching him in high school. That he really does seem to have a feel for the game. And last night, and again, it's Binghamton and it was a nice blowout and all that, but he had 3 assists and no turnovers.
yeah,
That's really good. He was,
yeah.
he was playing smart basketball.
Yeah, he's playing smart basketball, and like I said, just playing within the game, within himself as well, which was really important, impressive. He actually surprised me a bit. The one thing he does not have is like that blow by speed.
Yes, right.
But because he know that with his size, he's able to get to angles or even like get to a spot, get somebody on his hip, and cause maybe a double team. Um, but the cool thing about that is that he knows how to play basketball. He's been around basketball all his life. So whether it's the assists, and I think he mentioned, I seen an interview, he mentioned playing defense. He actually was really solid playing defense as well. He's not like a person who's going to take the ball from you, and he knows that. Like more Sadiq White is one of those guys where he's super quick with his feet, and he'll
Yeah.
probably make you turn the ball over. Cayenne's going to be a position guy who just he's going to try his best not to be like not to get scored on. So you saw that, and you could tell he put pressure on himself to actually play full court defense, and little things like that, just for young hoopers, little things like that will get you into the game. Playing good defense, and that'll turn into an open 3-pointer for yourself.
You mentioned the one of the other Syracuse freshmen there just then, Sadiq White, and this wasn't on my list of things I wanted to talk with you about today, because it's not like Sadiq had a double-digit scoring game or anything, but the way he plays defense, and I think that this is going to be because I just saw a video of Kobe Bryant breaking down Scottie Pippen playing defense.
Mm.
And when you see Sadiq White at 6'9", and the way he gets after it, I don't want to say that he's not Scottie Pippen, but he reminds me of somebody with Scottie Pippen's size and length and the way he loves to play defense. And I think he's going to really help down the line.
Yeah, I think so. I'm more interested, obviously, once JJ come back, how Red kind of does his rotations once the games get, once the season gets to mid-season, and now you get to the conference play. Like, do you play 8? Do you play 9?
Yeah.
I think it's really important because you're going to have a lot of guys. He do have 11 guys who really can play basketball on that team. Some guys going to be playing 35 minutes. Some guys going to be playing a little bit less. So him figuring out those rotations is very important. And I think the one thing that Syracuse got going for themselves is that they can really play defense. So it's hard. Like, do I pick somebody that is maybe more offensively gifted, or do I stick with, okay, you're not going to score on me? So I'm interested in seeing how Red choose to play for Syracuse. Obviously the game is you're gonna adjust, you know what I mean, you're gonna make those adjustments during the game, but I wonder how he's gonna hang his hat.
Yeah, we can't let our first podcast together go without talking about Syracuse's new point guard. I mean, I've got one of the best point guards in Syracuse history here with me. But did you start every single game in your career?
Every game since
every
true freshman too. I didn't reclassify. I wasn't I wasn't one of those 20-year-old freshmen like it is nowadays. I was just turned 18 years old, starting point guard on number 1 team.
Oh, okay, you had to throw that in there too. Yeah, starting point guard, no idea. Yes, but so a point guard of note. What did you think of Syracuse's point guard Nathan George against Binghamton?
I thought he's pretty solid. He was able to move the ball pretty well. I think one of his great attributes is that he do got a great feel for the game. What's really important for him is William Kyle. The fact that he able to get to those spots and you can just throw it up to the rim. I actually think that they should do a little bit more pick and roll.
Yes,
because he's not bad with the ball. Once he gets the ball, he's not going to rush it. He has maybe a move or two. It doesn't look too bad. Okay, if he doesn't finish, he'll just pass the ball out. And he's a guy who chases the ball and is going to set that screen, another screen.
That pick and roll. They ran a pick and roll last night. I keep saying last night. I know this podcast not going to, we're going to take a day or two to produce it. So Monday night, Nathan George ran a pick and roll with William Kyle that ended with a sweet little soft lob that Kyle dunks. And I turned to my colleague, Donna DeTota, and I said, did we see that at all last season? Did we see a pick and roll where a guard could just throw it up and have a guy go get it? And I don't know that we did.
Yeah, and it's another dynamic. When I played, we always had guys like that. Like Boeheim had plays where we just going to throw it to CJ, we're going to throw it to James. You know what I mean? We had Fab Melo, just one pass and throw it up. You know what I mean? If you're able to get easy buckets like that, it's very important. It gives you a lot of confidence, especially when you are on that pick and roll. A lot of times with Syracuse basketball, a lot of times our centers are lacking a little bit. So the guards aren't, they're not thinking, Judah Mintz maybe is not thinking, once I get off that pick and roll, I'm going to just pass it to my big. He only thinking with like one mindset. I'm gonna try to score, which could happen. But I think with George, his pace is really important. I think he has a mid-range game. He didn't score as much probably as he wanted to, but I could tell he looked like a guy who's gonna score 12 points and maybe 5 to 6 assists, especially with this team.
Well, and 8 assists and only 1 turnover. Now the eight
Mhm.
assist is they're understandable. You're winning a game. You're scoring in the 80s. You're throwing it up to William Kyle 2 or 3 times for easy assists. But a lot of times in those games where you're going up and down and having fun by the end, you'll turn the ball over once or twice. He didn't. Played under control, only the one turnover. I thought that was great. And he made an impact on the defensive end. 5 steals.
Yeah, 5
Uh,
steals, and
that's a
but
lot.
he's the smallest guy on the court, right?
Yes, and 5
Every
steals is more than any Syracuse player had at any
Yeah.
time last season. Nobody
Wow.
last season had more than 3 in a game.
Man, I think well, some of that is him, but he got those long athletes, man. William Kyle is an incredible defender. Like
Yes,
he's not getting the steal, but he's getting his hand on the ball, which makes other people get the steal. So especially in those pick and rolls, he's being aggressive. His arms is long. You think he's just backpedaling, then he just reaches to get the ball. When you got other guys playing pressure defense, it makes it more fun to play because you know it's going to end up with a great result, and teams is going to get tired, right? They're going to get nervous.
sure.
They're going to get more tense, and you've seen that in the Binghamton game, like turnover after turnover. I was wondering was Binghamton ever going to get going, and it just seemed like it's another turnover. But that's the luxury that I think Syracuse is going to have this year. You know, okay, and I know this. I knew this my senior year. Sometimes, okay, we're not scoring, but guess what?
Mm-hmm.
The other team is only shooting 32%. So we're going to have a great chance to win. I think if Syracuse, if they kind of focus, lock in on that, and then have the offense come behind, man, I think we're going to be really hard to beat.
I know this isn't going to happen all the time. We seem to, talking about just the way Syracuse played. They played so much differently than we've seen Syracuse teams of late play in recent years. The
Mm.
defensive intensity was there. They were creating turnovers. They were scoring off turnovers. And then we talk about the lobs and the dunks. I just want to add like one more stat for perspective on the dunks. Last year, the team leader in dunks for the season was Eddie Lampkin with
Yeah,
15. For the whole
yeah,
year, on Monday night against Binghamton, William Kyle had 7 dunks. He had 7
he
in
had 7
one
dunks last night.
game. He had 7 dunks.
Wow,
7.
7, and he
He
had
had 8
16 points,
buckets.
right? Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
he had.
yeah, 16 points. Yeah,
Yeah, his only
that's insane.
non-dunk was on his last bucket of the night, where he was in close and he kind of went up, muscled his way up, and laid it in off the
Yeah,
glass. And I was like, "Oh, did you really have to make one that wasn't a dunk? We could have said all your makes were dunks, but he had 7." And
yes.
I think it's just great. I think the fans are just gonna, if the team continues to play like this, both defensively and offensively, with this kind of intensity, I think some fans are going to enjoy this again. It did seem like Syracuse basketball again.
No, it definitely did, and I think, like I said, I'm gonna keep on harping on the defensive end because
Yes,
that allowed
you're
them to get into transition and make the game fun again. Um, if it's a half court game, sometimes you got to figure more things out. Who's going to shoot the shot? What shot are we trying to get? Sometimes it just can't be all about ball movement. You know what I mean? Because the ball need to be in the right player hands.
mhm.
Obviously with JJ playing, the energy he was bringing like the first 3 minutes, you would think he'll probably be the go-to guy. Obviously Donnie Freeman, but everybody plays a little bit looser, more efficient in transition, because everybody can bring the ball up from what I've seen. Obviously I haven't really seen Kyle dribble the ball, but even Donnie, once he get the rebound, he's able to push it to half court and make the game a lot faster, which is very important.
Oh, I've always liked if you're going up against pressure, especially any kind of full court pressure. I love it when you have forwards who can handle the ball, because a lot of times the guys guarding them might not be the pesky defenders who are going to take it from you like
Mm,
the other team's guards are. And sometimes
yeah,
it's nice to have a guard. You can let me know whether it's true or not. Sometimes if you're a guard, it's nice just to just have a break and be able to
yeah,
jog up the floor without bringing the ball up under pressure. If you could throw it over to CJ Fair in your case,
mm,
or this year for Syracuse, you can throw it to Nate Kings or Donnie Freeman and just let them bring it up against a guy, and you get it across half court, and then you reset the offense.
well, yeah, I think for us, and
Mm-hmm.
when I played, we always had two guards who were kind of like point guards, combo guards.
Yeah,
So for
Scoop
instance,
Jardine,
and me,
Michael
like I
Carter Williams.
exactly. So I always kind of been a point guard. So me playing shooting guard was like, I don't want to say secondary, but I played point guard all my life.
Yeah.
So sometimes I was saying to them, I'm like, yo, just I got it. Yo, Mike, it's fine. Like, I got it. You don't have to, because him being 6'6", it could be tough going against a six foot guard who's under them.
Sure.
So he could be getting tired at that moment, and just to eliminate, turnovers and things like that, and energy. Sometimes you need that relief, right? And that could be Donnie Freeman, which he had an incredible game as well.
Yeah.
I think he showed what he needed to show. Um, I think for him, he has a pro game, and I think he knows that. My thing for him is just to start inside and work your way out, instead of working your way and instead of starting outside and working your way in. Because if he does that, if he does it, if he starts from the outside, then he's going to be less efficient. But if he starts
Yes.
inside, what he did the second half, then he's going to be a dominating force for sure.
And with his size and the length and the way he
Mm.
shoots the ball up high, he shoots it high.
Yeah,
No one's stopping him. If he gets in there, if he can get the
yeah.
position inside,
But
he can score.
but you could tell, you could tell with him that he wants
Yeah.
to shoot jump shots.
Yes,
He don't
he
really want to
does.
go in there. He like, you know what I
Yes.
mean? But for college, it's like, as a pro, yeah, dude, he's
Dominate.
gonna have more space.
Yes. But
As a
college,
college player,
dominate.
try to
Yes.
try to get in that mid range, instead of doing those fadeaways. Be like a bruiser a little bit, right? And then from there, you gonna have a better rhythm, so that shot will go down for sure.
Yep. He takes this one long stride and puts a foot into the painted area and rises up for his
Mm.
shot. It's an open shot. I mean, he's shooting
Yes,
over anybody.
great touch.
One last subject. I want to bounce this off. I mean, we can make this quick before we get out of here today.
Mm.
But the Binghamton game was fast paced. They created turnovers. They were able to have fun, and eventually the points came pretty easy. You mentioned earlier about having to execute when the pace slows. Where do you think they go? How do they get their points when they go up against a team that's taking care of the ball, not turning it over, not letting them get in transition? How does
Right.
Syracuse's offense look to you?
I think, again, I think they should focus on trying to get. I think I'm gonna go back to when we played. I think we was getting 12, 13 steals a game, and people maybe thought that we couldn't do that every game. But I think their goal is to try to steal the ball from guys 15 times a game and just
Okay,
hang their hat on that.
sure.
But if the game does slow down, from what I've seen, they have more of a motion. They have, pick, screen away, pick, cut through, and everybody's touching the ball. Um, but I do see that Donnie does want to take I want to say the captain role of being a one-on-one player.
Yeah, sure.
I see that. I think he likes doing that. So once you get a little bit of movement, you might want to isolate him in a spot where you can get to the get to the basket, whether those the elbows, whether it's short corner, whether it's just an easy pick and pop, right? I think when you got guys like Nathan George, who's really good at getting to the basket, then you're able to pass it back. You're able to pass it back for an open shot. So that's very important. But I think they'll be able to find open shots. But you never know. you
Yeah.
know, you might start the season and say, "Hey, just pass the ball. Like, let's get the ball going." But once everybody uh, you see what other teams try to take away, then you just make those adjustments. But the good thing about Syracuse this year is they do have multiple ball handlers. I could tell that they got guys who like to score and want to score. Even Tyler Betsy, like he's a guy who I think, um, he likes to score. I could tell
He likes to shoot.
he
Yes,
likes
he
to shoot.
does.
So,
It's going up.
but for me, I think that for him, even like rhythm, right? It's like
Yeah.
he's once he sees it, he's like, all right, I want to get to my rhythm now. So he is going to take a couple questionable shots. I could tell just quick threes. But I could tell you got the pull up game, mid range game. He has the three ball game. I know he missed that easy layup, but I know he want that one back.
Oh, he
But
does. Yes.
yeah, but other than that, I think overall you have a bunch of guys who can do multiple things, right? So it's really just Coach Red just figuring out what type of team that Syracuse want to be, and then kind of like honing in on those skills. So then they locking in on it.
That'll be interesting. It'll be interesting to see what happens. Syracuse's next game is on Saturday afternoon at the JMA Wireless Dome against Delaware State. After that, they get another week-long break before they head down to Philadelphia to play Drexel. After that game, so next time we'll see you here on the podcast, Brandon. This has been so much fun. It's great talking to you. We're going to have great conversations throughout the season. I get to pick your brain. I get to get inside that point guard mind of yours. And we'll have fun too talking about some of your experiences over the years as well. But for today, listen, thank you for joining us. Can't wait to see you again.
Yes, man. Thanks for having me. This is a pleasure. And see you guys, I guess, in a week or so.
Yep. And for everybody out there, we appreciate you watching and listening here on the Inside Syracuse Basketball Podcast. Until next time, for Brandon Triche, I'm Mike Waters.